It's been over 2 long years since the last time Meyer Offerman and the Hunters took down a bunch of Nazis, but fans can finally get hyped up for the next chapter. The first one had plenty of controversial moments, so the second's bound to have even more, right? So today, we're going over everything you need to know about Season 2. Also, why not recap Season 1 while we're at it? Let's dive in. First up, there's a sad update for fans of the series. Hunters don't quite live up to other alternate history shows, like The Man in the High Tower or The Plot Against America, and yet people love it despite its very risky and controversial twists. The performances, particularly Al Pacino's, and the visuals of the series are top-notch. They're as good as they can be in a modern TV show if we're honest. But even though there's a fan base dedicated to the series, it's going to end after the second season. It's a sad update from creator David Weil, but we can understand why Amazon Prime would want to conclude the controversial series as soon as possible. Still, that doesn't mean that Hunters won't be taking swings at Nazis anymore, and it certainly means that there are many more twists left to follow. Up next, fans will get closure after 3 long years. The last time we saw Offerman and the Hunters working together, the World Health Organization hadn't considered COVID-19 a pandemic yet. So yeah, by the time Season 2 drops on Amazon Prime, it will have been 3 long years of waiting by the fans. Still, Entertainment Weekly confirmed that the upcoming season will premiere on January 13th, so we can expect closure sooner rather than later. But what does closure look like to the showrunner? Recently, he spoke with Entertainment Weekly and revealed quite a few details of what we can expect from Hunters in its final run. He made it pretty clear that it'll be more important to the Jewish community, who still have frustration and anger towards Hitler. For folks like David Weil, Hitler got away with his crimes. He didn't pay the price he should have, and instead turned a gun on himself to escape the justice he rightly deserved. So in this case, closure means catharsis, a way to empower the Jewish community and to engage in some form of wish fulfillment. That's what Season 2 is all about. In fact, David will only platform the dictator if it means justice. Now that we know Hitler's alive in the show's timeline, German actor Udo Kier will be playing the cruel dictator. He is going to have a growing presence in the world, and the Hunters will band together once again to wipe him out once and for all. That's the long and short of it, but we'll get into essential details in a bit. First, let's discuss what catharsis could look like moving forward. Being a Jewish person, David's idea for the second and final season is more than just wish fulfillment. It's about reclaiming the power the community once lost to a fascist. It's for all the children who grew up wanting justice for what had been done to their families, but understood that reality is more disappointing than fiction. And on that note, the showrunner said that he'd only ever give the violent dictator screen time if it means bringing him to justice in a satisfying way. It made us think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We knew that history couldn't be changed, but art doesn't have to imitate real life. You can create the world you wish were real, and that's more or less what Quentin Tarantino did. It gave audiences the catharsis that had been long overdue by Cliff Booth violently killing the would-be murderers of Sharon Tate. It didn't change history, but it gave audiences an escape from reality, and that's what Hunters is trying to do with its finale. Now, for more details about what to expect from Hunters' final run. From what we know so far, Season 2 takes place in the year 1979. The whole team's scattered, but they'll obviously come together after learning about the major plot twist in Season 1's finale. Hitler's alive, and Jonah and Millie need to unite the crew for one last hunt across 3 different continents. And in a surprise return, Al Pacino's making a return as Meyer Offerman, or rather, Wolf. But how? Isn't he deader than Glenn Rhee? Well, yes, but Season 2's timeline splits 2 ways. The first focuses on the Hunters and their pursuit of Hitler in 1979. The second one's set in the past, when Offerman created the Hunters. David revealed that it was always his plan to kill Meyer in Season 1, but since Season 2's the last, he and Pacino found a great way to include the character in Season 2 that would highlight his relationship with Jonah. Up next, new faces will lead to newer twists. Jennifer Jason Leigh joined the cast for the second season back in 2021, and she'll be playing top Nazi hunter Cheva Apfelbaum. The showrunner has revealed little, except that she's fierce, and her character will lead audiences through many delicious twists. There's not much else we know about the character, except that we won't know exactly what she's thinking at a given time. Sometimes she'll be shy and vulnerable, but sometimes she'll explode with intense fury, and that's what will keep the Hunters on their toes. On the flip side, there's Travis Leak, the brutal and sadistic neo-Nazi, who's the face of incels and neo-Nazism of the modern world, according to David. The character's a bridge between the Nazis of the 1940s and the neo-Nazism of today. What happens with his character, we don't know yet. David's received plenty of criticism about the show from the Jewish community and the organization running the Auschwitz Memorial Museum, especially about the human chess game the Nazi soldiers play in Season 1. It was a disturbing scene, and we understand why it would upset the community. On the flip side, the showrunner has also spoken with Holocaust educators and Jewish leaders who really love the show for the way it portrays historical events. It's a polarizing series, to say the least, but January 13th's not that far away, and we're rooting to get that catharsis that David promised when it drops on Prime. Coming up, a tiny recap of Season 1's biggest twist. Season 1's finale had a lot to unpack. Pacino's Meyer Offerman turned out to be a facade. He's the wolf who murdered the real Meyer Offerman, Jonah's granddad, and Ruth's one true love. During the Soviet liberation of Auschwitz, Wolf knew that the Soviets would murder him, so he ran from his prison cell and found Offerman, the one man he knew best. In order to escape from Auschwitz, Wolf murdered him in his sleep and stole his identity. Then he cuts things off with Ruth, leaving her Meyer's necklace and a note explaining that he couldn't be with her because of the murders he's committed in her name. The man even got plastic surgery to change his face. Later, Wolf tells Jonah that he finally woke up from a coma of hatred after living 30 years as a Jewish man. But when Ruth visited him and told him about Nazis hiding in America, he created The Hunt in order to get redemption for his actions in Auschwitz. We know what happens next. Jonah recites the Kaddish and kills the wolf. The wolf reveal was the biggest twist in the series, and the clues were all there if you look for them. For example, in episode 5, there's a brutal interrogation between Meyer and Tilda, a former Nazi propagandist, and you can sort of see the facade slipping from the wolf's face. There are also moments where you can catch Meyer washing his hands like a surgeon. Honestly, it's very neatly done, but there's another person we're really curious about. Finally, will Harriet play a double agent? Sister Harriet always had a seemingly different agenda than everyone else. In Season 1, she's working against the hunters. You could always tell that she was hiding something. And then, of course, there's the phone call that she makes to a mysterious person and says they're getting closer in German. Later, she tips off Kenneth Swiggins, a Nazi hiding out in Alabama, and tells him that the Juden are after him. But then comes the twist. She took him as a gift to Mindy and Murray. So, is she working for the hunters or against them? Well, right after Jonah kills the wolf, she has a strange phone call with a British woman who we don't know yet. She tells the person that it's important to open the curtains to see that there's still light in the world. The British woman calls Sister Harriet Rebecca, a name she hasn't used since she was a kid living with her parents, and asked how she'll fool the hunters in order to carry out a certain plan. So who's the mysterious contact? Well, we can only theorize at this point, but what we can guesstimate for Season 2 is that Sister Harriet might turn out to be a double agent that'll help lead the fight against the Nazis. But why does she need to hide certain information from the hunters? We're not sure, but all we know is that we're super psyched for Season 2, and we can't wait to binge it when it drops. And that is a wrap, folks. Thanks for watching. So what are your expectations from Season 2? Do you have any theories for how it might end? Tell us down below. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos in the future. See you in the next one.